Retro Road Test, Ford Escort Van vs Vauxhall Astramax. ATS White Van Man at your disposal. In the world of compact commercial vehicles, two names have long stood out as benchmarks of British utility and practicality, the Ford Escort van and the Vauxhall Astramax. These two small vans have served countless tradespeople, couriers, and small business owners across the UK, delivering a combination of reliability, efficiency, and no-nonsense workhorse credentials. While the humble panel van may not set pulses racing, it remains an essential part of the motoring landscape, and when it comes to comparing two of the most iconic models from the 1980s and early 1990s, there's more than just payload and panel gaps to consider. This road test takes a deep dive into how these two compact vans fare against each other in terms of performance, practicality, design, and real-world usability. Styling and first impressions. While neither van is likely to turn heads, both the Escort van and the Astramax have an understated charm about them. The Escort van, derived from the Escort Mk4 platform, retains the smooth, squared-off lines typical of 1980s Ford design. With its flush grille, simple rectangular headlamps, and slab sides, it exudes an honest, unfussy appeal. The Astramax, based on the Vauxhall Astra Mk2, features a similarly boxy aesthetic but with a slightly more modern look, thanks to its more rounded corners and subtly integrated bumpers. Where the Escort seems to shout utilitarian, the Astramax whispers it with a bit more subtlety. The Vauxhall's body-colored bumpers and marginally more aerodynamic profile give it a slight edge in the curb appeal department. Inside, both vans feel like they're hatchback siblings, though stripped back for van duty. The Escort's dashboard is basic, featuring large, clearly marked switches and durable plastics. The seats are firm and offer decent support for short to medium journeys. The Astramax's cabin feels a touch more upmarket, with slightly softer materials and a marginally more modern layout. Ergonomically, both are simple and efficient, although the Astramax's controls feel a tad more intuitive. Load capacity and practicality. For tradespeople and delivery drivers, the cargo area is arguably the most critical aspect of a van. Here, the Astramax pulls ahead. With a payload capacity of around 600–700 kg depending on specification and a load volume of just under 3.0 cubic meters, it offers more usable space than the Escort van, which generally tops out closer to 500–600 kg and around 2.7 cubic meters. Access is another area where the Astramax shines, particularly with its side-hinged rear doors that open wide for easy loading. The Escort van's single-piece tailgate isn't quite as versatile, especially when dealing with taller or awkwardly shaped items. Tie-down points and load floor strength are on par in both vehicles, though the Vauxhall's slightly flatter floor and lower sill make for more efficient cargo handling. Engine and performance. Under the bonnet, both vans offer a range of petrol and diesel options. The Escort van's most common engines include the 1.3 and 1.6-litre petrol units and the trusty 1.8-litre diesel. The Astramax counters with similar options, the 1.3 and 1.6-litre petrols and the 1.7-litre Isuzu-derived diesel. In real-world use, the diesel variants are the most popular, and for good reason. The 1.8D in the Escort is durable and economical, but lacks oomph, especially when fully loaded. It trundles along well enough but struggles when tasked with overtaking or climbing hills. The Astramax's 1.7D, by contrast, offers slightly better torque delivery and a more responsive throttle. It feels a bit more lively and composed on the motorway, though neither van could be called fast. In terms of handling, both vans exhibit classic front-wheel drive behavior. The Escort van handles predictably and has a compliant ride, though it can feel a bit floaty at speed. The Astramax, with its slightly stiffer suspension setup, corners with more confidence and resists body roll better, though at the cost of a firmer ride. Steering feedback in both is fairly numb by modern standards, but perfectly serviceable for their intended use. Economy and running costs. Fuel economy is a key consideration for van users. The Escort van's 1.8 diesel can return around 45 to 50 miles per gallon in mixed use, while the Astramax 1.7 diesel nudges slightly higher, often achieving 48 to 52 miles per gallon. Petrol versions are understandably thirstier, though still reasonable for the time. Servicing is straightforward for both, with parts readily available and affordable. However, the Astramax's Isuzu engine has a reputation for lasting well beyond 200,000 miles with basic maintenance, giving it a slight edge in longevity. Insurance costs are broadly similar, typically falling into low commercial vehicle groups. Driving experience. Driving either of these vans is a nostalgic experience today. The Escort van feels more like a basic car from the 80s, softly sprung, a bit roly-poly, but easygoing. It's quiet enough on smooth roads, though engine noise is intrusive at high revs. The gear change is light but lacks precision, and the pedals are spaced for booted feet. The Astramax feels a touch more car-like in its handling. It's more stable at motorway speeds and feels more composed over bumps. The clutch is light, and the gear change is short and snappy, making it feel nimbler in urban settings. Visibility in both is excellent, with large mirrors and upright driving positions. Noise, vibration and harshness, NVH, levels are more refined in the Vauxhall, although neither van offers much in the way of sound insulation. Expect plenty of diesel clatter and road roar, particularly at speed. Reliability and ownership experience. Both the Escort van and the Astramax have established solid reputations for reliability. The Escort's diesel engine is simple and durable, though timing belt changes are essential and mustn't be overlooked. Rust can be a major issue, particularly around the wheel arches, sills, and floorpan. The Astramax also suffers from rust, especially on earlier models, though the mechanicals are robust. The 1.7 diesel engine is widely praised for its reliability, and electrical gremlins are less common than in the Escort. Cabin trim on the Astramax tends to wear better over time, and the seats retain their shape longer. Enthusiasts and restorers often cite the Astramax as the more desirable long-term proposition, owing to its superior mechanicals and rarity today. Verdict. Choosing between the Ford Escort van and the Vauxhall Astramax ultimately depends on your priorities. The Escort van is a charming and dependable workhorse, with straightforward mechanics and a wide support network. It's slightly cheaper to run and easier to repair, making it a favorite among DIY mechanics and small fleet operators. The Astramax, on the other hand, offers more practicality, better performance, and a marginally more comfortable driving experience. Its superior diesel engine and greater load capacity give it the edge for those doing regular, long-distance or high-capacity work. Both vans are icons in their own right, and both have earned their place in the pantheon of practical British motoring. But if pressed to choose a winner, the Vauxhall Astramax takes the crown by a narrow margin. It's the van that goes the extra mile, quieter, quicker, and just a little bit cleverer in its execution. A true example of form following function, wrapped up in a boxy shell of 1980s charm.